Welcome to another episode of the One-on-One podcast. I feel like I don't need to introduce my. Well, I don't. Hold on, let me backtrack really quick. Ryan and Kathy, do you guys think we will ever get to a point where we're like Conan or like the Smartless episode where we don't have to actually introduce ourselves because we have such a recognizable name, face, and voice that they will just know who we are?
Oh, I think we're there now.
Good.
For those who don't know me, I am Joshua Katz. I am on Realty ONE Group's marketing team. I am joined, as always, by my two partners, Kathy Baker and Ryan Esteban. Guys, welcome.
Good to see you today.
Thanks for having us.
What's the latest? Ryan, how's your leg? Kathy, how's everything?
The Achilles is there. It's growing. I'll be back in the studio soon, hopefully walking. So can't complain.
Yeah, I guess actually for those that don't know, if you've seen a lack in a little bit of quality in our episodes, it's partly because I'm doing some of the back end work on my own while Ryan recuperates, and I'm not as technically sound as he is.
No, it's just as good. It's just as good.
Well, we have a special episode today. We have I know Kathy and Ryan will agree with me, two of my favorite people in the entire company. I got to meet this lovely couple, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago at an event. And we just immediately hit it off. They are just so full of energy and life and passion for this brand. They have a couple different offices. They all go by Realty ONE Group Pacifica. We are so excited to welcome Brad and Marianne Whittaker. So guys, welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here.
I'm super excited about these two today, Josh and Ryan. And I will tell you, if you said to me, define the essence of our core values with the 6 Ps, it would be Brad and Marianne. But more importantly, our golden, our rules about being golden. I think without a doubt, these two are the most authentic and genuine and passionate broker owners I've ever met. So I'm just honored to have them on today. Sincerely.
Yeah, agreed.
Good to be here. It's a gift.
Yeah, let's tell a little bit about the history, Josh, of where that started and then their leap.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It was a leap, all right. So so I started in real estate in 2014, and I was in lending for 9 years before that, and I finally got sane and got out of lending and got into real estate because I had been bouncing around it for about 20 years before that in different professions. I was 2 years in, and my business was chaos. And I got myself to a spot where I was kind of staring down the barrel of paying somebody their $5,000 in earnest money because I'd missed a date on an inspection contingency, or paying for their $6,500 drainage system under their house because I missed their inspection contingency. And so we finally got ourselves worked out of that. And Marianne said to me, maybe I could help you with some systems so that this doesn't happen again, as she's kind of sitting there fuming. And I'm like, oh, that would be really great if you did that. And so it was shortly thereafter that she retired out of education after 30 years and came on board to kind of help me. She got a real estate license and it has been amazing since then. She was 2 years in the business, and we decided to buy our first franchise with Realty ONE Group. And it has been amazing ever since. And it has been, I think one of the things that I promised her is I said, we'll just run hard for 5 years and see where we end up. And so we've just got past our 5-year mark. And we've got, lots to talk about and lots to do. But it's been fun because we were just counting yesterday. And you have to realize that our markets are small, right? I mean, our towns are 47,000. They're not humongous markets. Basically, it's only ever going to be our office in the entire county. And so we've got almost 20% of our association in our office.
Wow.
Which is kind of fun if you look at ratios, right? But by agent count, having 85 agents isn't any really big deal for a lot of offices that have hundreds and hundreds of agents.
Well, but it's all relative, right?
Well, it is
Exactly.
right. And we decided long ago that we were going to grow intentionally and not just take anybody with a pulse, because when we first got this opportunity, kind of fell in our lap, the whole concept of what Kuba talks about in the culture and, everything that Realty ONE Group is through the 6 C's, because we didn't have Golden at that point, right?
Right.
So
we didn't know about it.
Yeah, through the 6 C's, it was super incredible to see how closely everything in this company lined up with our core values.
Yeah.
And so it was zero time at all for us to really take a look at, do we want to do this? We took the day off and we went for a drive, and we were going through the paperwork, and we were like, yeah, this is exactly what we need to do. And she was 2 years in the business. I was 4 years in the business, and we just dove head first because the vision that was laid out for us was crystal clear. And it was just, there was no way we were not going to do this.
I mean, for us also, coming from education, where there's really, for me, it was all about servant leadership in education. And so finding this model of doing real estate in which we can serve others and do what's best for agents and their families and give them all the training they need, which of course I love. Honestly, like Brad said, it was a perfect fit for us. And yeah, we're still running hard after 5 years. It's not going to stop.
Well, I mean, I think in 5 years, I don't know if you guys heard the episode with Rob Spearman, who I think is also on year 5 or year 6. And, one of the things that's so impressive about him and with you guys is what you've done in 5 years. And not only that, like what the market's done in the last 5 years. Like, it's not like it's been an easy road, and going through a pandemic, and, you guys opened your first office in Washington, right? And then you opened another office in Hawaii. And I mean, that's, Kathy, correct me if I'm wrong, but like that takes a certain amount of skill and drive to do that.
Yeah. Courage. Very, very courageous. And I want to pause a moment and just acknowledge something that I respect so much. And one thing that Brad and Mary Ann have done so well is divide and conquer. And it's really hard with a partnership. To me, it's an even greater challenge when you lock the office door and then you go home together, right?
Yeah.
So you guys have mastered that, and the respect that you have for one another is just amazing. And I just, you just have it all, and you've figured it out, and you've identified the roles and responsibilities, and you stay in your lane, and you respect each other so much. I think that's the key to it.
Yep.
I think one of the things that kind of speaks to that point is we have, I think, 8 or 9 husband-wife teams in our office in Longview alone.
Wow.
And that's more than every other office in 3 counties have combined. So we've kind of hit on this concept, the sweet spot of how to work together as a couple. And now we get the gift of being able to teach others how to do that.
Yeah.
See, I love that so much because I don't even like me that much. I mean, sometimes at the end of the
Kathy,
day,
you stole the words out of my mouth.
Yeah. And I guess you've got to be able to put those controlling tendencies aside. You got to put ego aside. And the reality of it is whatever money we generate all goes into the same bank account. So why does it matter if she's the boss or I'm the boss? I mean, we each have strengths. We each have weaknesses. And fortunately for me, she covers all my weaknesses. I don't think that's exactly works for her going that way. But, the gift for me is that I married my transaction coordinator. And so, and the person who does everything that I am really bad at, which is a lot of stuff, she's absolutely exactly what I needed to complete my ADHD riddled brain. The yin to your yang. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's been amazing to see how many couples that want to get into this business are that exact same way. They are really yin and yang, but they just need a little coaching on the human dynamics side of how to work as a couple.
Well, I think you guys have also found, which is super cool. You guys have found a niche in the industry of helping out couples, like teams.
Sure.
And I mean, and that's really cool because one, I think most partnerships, like whether it's, whoever you're married to, they can't work together. Let's just be honest, they can't. Most of them barely even made it through the pandemic living in the same house, for more hours than they were supposed to. And so like you guys, we always talk about Dustin and Kimmy on our team, who are also husband and wife, and I've never even seen them get irritated with each other. And I mean, it's beautiful. It's so rare and it's so cool. So I'm very jealous of you guys.
It is.
So there was a learning curve. I'm not gonna lie. We each had an original partnership that didn't work so well. And so we learned from that.
Yeah, totally.
It's unfortunate that that's what it took, but there's gratitude in that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
there's an appreciation. And it is, you're exactly right, Josh. It is a different skill set. It's one skill set to sit at the conference table, but then to take it to the dinner table, it's totally different. And then to do both of those, right? It just takes a level of a congruency and just being authentic that is really rare. Yep. Very, very rare.
I think there's a huge trust piece in there too. I mean, for us, that's when we can sit down on a podcast, every other week, and we have ideas, about the topic that we're going to cover, but there's no script. We've got bullet points that we intend to talk about, but we trust each other to not put each other in a position, whether it's a podcast or a situation or a conversation that that's going to be difficult. Right. Yeah. So
you got each other's back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To the point that we all, at one point, we considered doing franchise with a third person, a threesome. And on our way home from that conversation, I was like, that third wheel thing is going to be a thing. It's going to be a difficult piece to work through. So if we can do this, just the two of us, it's going to be better in the long run. And so part of our decision making.
Agreed.
May we talk a little bit about the podcast?
I know. That's what I was just going to say, Kathy.
Awesome. It's awesome.
You go.
Well, so we've been fortunate to have somebody locally here who's really got a skill set for editing, and he's got all the equipment. And so we actually, as we were walking in the building to come and meet with you guys, he was walking out with one of the local pastors, because he uses our space as well to video other podcasts.
Cool.
And so, it just works out really well where, he's in here and he's able to do podcasts for, I think, 2 or 3 different agent groups in our office. And then he uses it for 2 or 3 other groups after office hours. So it's really been amazing to see how that all kind of worked itself out.
From a content standpoint, how have your agents responded to it, or just your network? Like, are they, is it a beneficial tool, or what, like, what's your number one reason for pushing out episodes each week, or however often you guys do it?
Well, I think the biggest piece of video is it's up and coming, right? So as being a leader of the office, if we're not practicing what we preach, there's something incongruent there.
Totally.
So it keeps us accountable because we have that appointed time every week to do that. And it models for our agents different things that they can do, whether it's a podcast or just a live or whatever they want to do. Yeah. But just creating that level of importance to do that and continuing to do that.
I think that's a Kathy, that's a great answer. And honestly, Ryan as well. Like I think we need to look at our own podcast as an example for how agents, how owners, how whatever, should be producing content.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that's a really good answer, Mariana does.
Every time I walk into our Centralia office, they literally have your podcast running every hour of the day. It's just you guys on the screen.
Oh no,
it's kind of weird.
And so, but it's that important to them that they stay absolutely in tune with what's going on.
Totally.
Right? So for them, it's really important.
And again, I want to pause just a moment and just, I don't want this to get past our viewers, our listeners, Josh and Ryan. They're giving back to the community. They're opening up their space for people to come in and use it. Not only their agents, but people in the community. That's how you have 20% of the market. That's how you have 20% of the membership. And you do that just even without realizing it. Mm-hmm. So again, that's golden. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and that's really what brings us joy. I mean, that's why, that's our why, right? I mean, as Simon would say, I mean, the reason we get out of bed in the morning is to see how many people we can help make successful every day. And
whether it's in real estate or not.
Right. Because we know that the more people we can help, the better off it is for us. The brand gets better. The other agents are making more money. That makes the office more successful. So as long as we continue to pour into others, everything else just kind of takes care of itself.
Well, let me start with this. We need to schedule, because what we're going to do is we're going to reverse this, and the three of us will be guests on your guys' podcast. So let's figure out the scheduling on that, because we would love to do that. I'm speaking for Ryan and Kathy, but we will do it. And then what you just said is so indicative of the two of you. Like, it's not even an effort, or it doesn't seem like it's an effort for you guys to just be decent, good people, contributing members of your community. And, as everybody knows, recently, Maui was nailed by fires, and it has affected hundreds of lives. There's been homes and cars and offices, and it's terrible. And I know you guys, one of your offices is in Maui. If you guys maybe want to talk a little bit about, how it has affected you guys, the GoFundMe you guys have in place, how people can give back. Any information you guys want to give.
So a year and a half ago, January, we opened up our office in Kihei, or Wailea, on the southwest side of the island. And Lahaina, that has just burned to the ground, is on the northwest side, so nowhere near us. It's about 45 minutes away. And then up in Kula is the other place that has lost hundreds of homes, that is really being overshadowed by the total devastation of Lahaina. They've lost, I don't know that it's several hundred, but they've lost multiple subdivisions up in Kula, which is kind of, up country on Maui. It's up the side of the mountain. And so, they've just got devastation raining everywhere there right now. On the west side of the island is what they call the dry side. So the east side is the Ohana side. It's, basically it's a rainforest. Yeah. So they'll get 15 feet of rain a year on the east side of the island, and they'll get 6 inches of rain a year on the west side of the island.
Got it.
Wow. Okay.
15 feet to 6 inches.
Yep.
Okay. That's the missing link. That's the missing link.
Yeah. And so, think Maui has 2 big volcanoes that have kind of eroded into a flat spot in the middle where the airport is. So you've got a big volcano here and a smaller one up north, and the clouds hit the east side of those, dump rain, and then lift up and take off. And so the west side of the island hardly gets any rain. So they're actually in a drought there now. They haven't had any substantial rain for about 6 months. And when you're 85 to 90 degrees all the time, it dries out pretty quick.
Yeah.
So you got Hurricane Dora spinning, and she's got, 800 miles away. She's still creating 100-mile-an-hour winds on Maui. And those winds snap the power lines, and they hit the brush, and now you've got a fire.
Yeah.
So, if you could see how it happened in Lahaina, there's just, everything west of a freeway was absolutely decimated. Everything east of the freeway was null. And so, and we don't have an office there, but there are many companies that do have offices there.
Yeah.
I think that like 2,200 structures are burned to the ground. I mean, it is total devastation for the people who grew up, visiting Lahaina and living there, loving it.
The locals.
The
locals that have hundreds of years of history there that has been lost within minutes.
Yeah.
The death toll, we still don't know what that's going to look like.
The last report we heard was just under 100 have been identified.
Yeah.
That's 3% of the area searched with cadaver dogs. So, I mean, if this continues on that ratio, this is going to be horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already horrible just losing 100, but it does not get better as time goes on. And so, and over there, it's the state government, the county government, they're facing some challenges because this is really bigger than what they're prepared for. So our office in Wailea, we have one agent from Lahaina, and fortunately for her home was not in an area that got burned down. So she's safe, her family's safe, it's all good. But that's not the case for a lot of other people.
Yeah.
So, we have a very, it's not a huge office. It's like 15 agents over there. But they are mighty in heart. They are a complete, as they say in Maui, it's all about the Ohana.
Yeah.
And so they are taking that to heart. We've got this GoFundMe started for the Lahaina wildfires, and it has, 3 days where we're over $13,000 raised. So, and I don't know that we've seen a lot. I haven't been into my email today to see if anybody has, donated today, but it has been substantial in the response. And our goal is 50,000. And if we can do that, we have boots on the ground. Our principal broker there used to be a pastor for 25 years on Maui. And so he has connections everywhere. And
his wife is a native.
And his wife she was born and raised on Maui, actually in Lahaina. So, they have got all kinds of heart and ties there. So we're just hoping to prop them up with the money that they need to go in and bless other people.
I don't want to get emotional like Mary Ann does. But I know that you're so faithful, and I know that this was a leap for you. And now I'm just sitting here wondering, is this why? Are you there for this?
That could be.
So one
of the things about being on an island, so we lived there every other month for a month for about a year and a half. And had we not done that, we wouldn't have nearly the appreciation for everything that's involved in addressing this catastrophe.
Yeah.
Most people don't realize that on Maui, there is only about 7 days worth of food at any given time on that island to feed everyone. Getting supplies there in a timely manner, much less having places to put supplies. It's a limited space. It's a little space out in the middle of the ocean, so there's some unique challenges being on an island. Yeah. And so having that appreciation and understanding that, and also realizing that we are choosing to think about this in our office as a marathon, not a sprint. There will be people with boots on the ground to be taking care of immediate needs for the short-term immediacy, right? For us, I think it's almost more important that we also pay attention to what's going to be needed in the next few months, in the next few years.
Yeah.
Christmas is coming. I know that's a weird thing to say, But Christmas is coming and it's not far away. And we've got kids on that island from Lahaina town, from Kula. I mean, so it's just one baby example of thinking beyond right now, this second, this week, is important to us because it's going to be a long-term rebuild, and we want to be there to help.
I know for in the short term, at least what Ryan and I can do is we will be adding your guys' link to the GoFundMe to this episode. All the promotion that I do for this episode, I will have that link. And hopefully we can at least just, start getting that out to as many people as possible.
Yeah. And that's really all we can do is ask people to get that link out.
Yeah.
I mean, if my thought process was, if we have 18,000 agents and everybody gave $5, that would be astronomical amounts of money. Right. But what we're seeing is we're not seeing the $5. We're seeing the 20s and the 50s and the 111s. And I mean, it's just incredible what we're seeing come in. Mm-hmm. So the more that we promote this, we're certain we are going to just go ripping right past our $50,000 goal.
Yep.
And see where that ends up. Who knows? But we do know that we've got boots on the ground, and they're going to take care and spend that money in the absolute best way possible.
And I've got to say, we've been so grateful we've had agents from ROG from Arizona that have reached out, Alaska, just so much support, even just, emotional, and not just the money, but, just checking on you guys, seeing how you're doing. And that's one of the biggest reasons that we love this company, and because it's family,
right?
And family in Maui is everything. It's Ohana, and we take care of one another, however that looks.
We opened the episode talking about golden, and the words that come to mind right now are what wonderful stewards.
Yeah.
Who are, and Kuba talks about, we come from the heart. And that L, the love in golden. So thank you so much to both of you. It's true servant leadership, and it's way beyond the commission.
It never honestly has been about that for us. That fee for us is all the way at the bottom.
We've purposely stayed out of large markets because we wanted to serve the agents in the small markets.
Totally.
Because that's normally where they're getting absolutely pounded. And nobody's going to show any mercy to someone in a small market, because who do you have as competition? I can charge you 50-50 and, as a split, and nobody else is doing any different. So we're all just going to ride on the back of the agent. Well, one of the main reasons we open the doors every morning is to make sure that anybody that wants to work and have an amazing opportunity, we're here to do that for them. So that's the focus.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you two are a perfect example of what this company preaches. And it's honestly, it's very, very, very wonderful to see. And that's why we are always so damn excited to see you two at all of our events. I mean, you're just like a breath of fresh air every time we get to see you.
Well, we're excited for Base Camp in October.
Yes, so are we.
So we've got our tickets for that already. We're going to tag it on the end of a vacation, since we haven't had a vacation in a while.
I love that.
So we're going to do, Mexico to Miami. So we'll see you there. We'll already get there.
You may not have much of a liver left.
That's the idea.
The liver light will be blinking like a balloon.
Yep.
And then we are working hard to get, and I think we already have, we've reached out to a number of offices so that we can get at least 50 tickets all together for Summit in February. So I'm super excited about that.
You guys, seriously, I know you guys are everything that mine and Ryan's team wants out of the other brokers and managers in this company, because it's just that's what we love to hear. We work really hard on these events. And so to hear like one one couple is buying 50 tickets that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, you guys, and to speak to that, very seldom, I don't know that, because I've talked to a number of franchise owners and of other brands, and there's animosity between them and the upper management of the brand.
Right.
And here, it's just not that way at all. Yeah. I mean, it is love top to bottom. And when you've got that love and that support flowing from corporate to the franchise owner, to the agent, to the consumer, everybody gets it. The money always flows back up as long as that support and love go down.
You're absolutely right.
And so we feel when you guys are putting on these incredible events, whether it's base camp or whether it's summit or the recruiting, lead up, team up, whatever it is, you guys do 100%. And nobody feels like you guys are, excuse my French, half-assing it.
Yeah.
Because it is, you guys are all in, and we love that, because that tells us we can be all in, because we're not going to be the ones that look goofy, because we're the rah people and everybody above us and is silent.
Yeah.
So I mean, you guys set the stage for us to do what we do.
So thank you for all of that, because the marketing, all of it. I mean, we had a client walk in today. And she said, I've always loved the way you guys do things, because it's just so different from everybody else. And I said, well, that's why we're called the Unbrokerage.
Yep.
She said, really? You guys call yourself that? I'm like, yeah, we do.
You guys are too sweet. This episode's about you two. But okay, I want to continue this conversation. Maybe we continue it on your guys' podcast. And then we would love to have you guys back on. Maybe we'll do like a little hype for Summit, and we can have the Whittakers on, but we would love to have you guys back. And as I said before, we will have your guys' GoFundMe link available. And it will correspond to this episode. So any sort of communication we do with this episode, that link will be attached as well. And seriously, guys, thank you again for joining us. Our thoughts and prayers go out to everyone in Maui right now. And thank you again. And I hope to see you guys in Miami in like 2 months, right?
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
We thank you for joining us today on another episode of One on One, a Realty ONE Group podcast. We are powered by One.U and ask if you have suggestions, recommendations, or questions, please email learning@realtyonegroup.com. And remember, pay close attention to the details, listen to understand, not respond, and always be a resource, not a sales pitch.